Great to have you here, bro. So just elaborate for us how the process went when you were writing Her Lies and Secrets Part One.
I first came up with the concept of Her Lies and Secrets. I wanted to go in the direction of a thriller. When I speak thriller, I speak on us. I speak on When the Bell Breaks. I speak on No Good Deeds with Idris Elba and Taraji. I wanted something along those lines, but I wanted something with a twist. So the first scene I wrote was of this young lady who was sitting with her mom. I had the whole visual together. This young lady sitting in this awkward daze, and her mother speaking with her. And you could tell this kid was on some medication of some type. I knew at that introductory scene, from the look of that kid's face, I wanted the viewers on stage to really wonder what's the problem with this young lady and why she awkwardly responded and why she delayed her response to her mother. But in that character, I also wanted to show her thoughts of these imaginary people. So there's some characters in the play where you really think you're not really sure if they're real or not because of their interaction. The thing about her mom is dealing with the same thing. So when those two get together, you got all these imaginary people who really don't exist. So I wanted something kind of crazy, and I wanted to feel like a movie, a live movie. That was really my objective with the play, was make it feel like you were watching a movie. And we achieved that. People say they felt like they were watching a live movie. That was one of the objectives with this project.
Awesome, awesome. So as a writer for stage, how did it make you feel when people said that they felt like it was a live movie? Did it put you in a position where you feel like you should change all of your writing moving forward, or was this like, well, this is the lane I'm gonna go, but then I'm still going to do traditional theater feel too?
Yeah. After hearing that, I heard it before from a friend of mine, Danza Townsend. She said every time she read one of my scripts, it felt like it was reading a movie. So I just write, man. I really haven't thought about that, but in doing so, I wrote part two as a movie. I try to make sure as many of the scenes were a continuation as possible, less cutting as possible. In three, I did that on purpose. One, bringing in Brian White, bringing in Bernadette Sanders and Claudia Jordan. I wanted Brian to feel something different than what he felt potentially in what he did with David Talbot's play. Not taking anything from David Talbot, but I wanted to give him something different, a little bit of psycho, a little bit of suspense thriller. I wanted him to see at the end of the play, primarily in his role, to have two different things going on while that dialogue is happening. So I want to see how he take to that. But it gave me great interest in screenplays after that. I knew that after I couldn't put everything I wanted to do on stage, I knew that I have to do a screenplay to show some of the special effects, to show just some of the backstories on what I want to do with the story. And to be honest with you, for the future, I'm probably going to be working on this play for another couple of years. Only because there's thousands of people who have not seen this play, and I want to mature it. And I think that doing my due diligence with this script is going to allow me to really finesse it, as well as mature it and tour it. I think that to be able to do that, similar to what Tyler Perry did with, I can do that by myself, or I know I can change. One of those plays, he wrote it for 10 years. I wrote Philadelphia for almost 10 years, and I even see today that play is still needed, but I want to give that effect with this play being a for-profit, because Philadelphia was all non-profit, but I want to do it now in a for-profit realm and see. I want to see how it can reach the sky's the limits with this play. That's really my objective. I want to see how high can this show go. That's really what we want to do in the future with it.
Dope.
Right, man, you don't look at people when we on stage, is what you saying?
I mean, so how do you think you come along with J-Mo, man, as a character?
Well, no, J-Mo's one of those characters where you really gotta like dive into him. J-Mo takes in his surroundings, and when he takes in his surroundings, he internalizes everything.
Yeah.
And then whenever you talk to him, you know exactly how he's feeling because like he comes out with it.
Yeah.
You know. And so J-Mo is one of those guys that, you know, whatever is going on through his head, whatever he's feeling, like you're gonna know about it.
Yeah. So is it a fun character for you?
J-Mo's a fun character for me because it allows me to take myself out of my element.
The boss is here. Time out. Run!
So just thinking in terms of, I know doing something on this large scale so consistently for so long, what would be some of your, if you know that you're willing to speak of, some of your failures, things that you learned from, what you learned from your failures, and some of your biggest successes, and how they have inspired you.
I would say my biggest successes has been not listening to people. People ask me for years, why you continue to do productions in small venues? Those small venues allow me to fail on very much smaller scales. They were not stressful. They allow me to max out my audience and build a base. It allowed me to learn to start on time. It allowed me to understand what different lighting do. It allowed me to teach vocal projection in smaller locations. It taught me so many things on a much smaller scale. So when I was exposed finally to doing things back on stage, I was more familiar, and I learned what and what not to do in dealing with those smaller locations. And sometimes you get the pressures from people because people want to compare you. People are just going to do that, whether it's a Kobe Bryant, whether it's a LeBron James, people are going to compare you regardless. So I would get a lot of the different actors from around the city asking me, hey DP, why aren't you using this location? Why aren't you doing plays on this level, etc., man? And my thing was, it's not time. And it was hard at times because people, they want to put you in a certain category if you're using, per se, a cotton club or holding a wall. Versus doing things at a Taj Mahal, man. But I enjoy doing my things in a hole in the wall, underground location, because it allowed me to, one, meet everybody who came to one of my productions individually at the show. It allowed me to talk to people individually at the show. And those things were huge to me, to be able to build those relationships, and even be able to talk to people and hear what they had to say about my production. And I would say that's been one of my greatest victories. One of my I would say not so great victories have been people work with me in the past, man. People feel that if they're no longer working with you or associated with you, that's a bad thing, and that's not a bad thing in a lot of cases. Because Denzel Washington isn't doing Spike Lee movies no more, it doesn't make Spike Lee a bad guy. Because Wesley Snipes isn't doing Spike Lee movies, it doesn't make Spike Lee a bad guy. Same with Keanu B. Wayne's. You got Jamie Foxx started from there, Jim Carrey started from there, but because they're no longer associated with it, people automatically think that was a bridge burn, and that's never the case with me. People grow, I grow, people move on, and my thing is help nurture you to move on to other things.
Wow.
And that's really been a misconception with people, man. They figure that because they see a person in a commercial, they're no longer doing things with DP, that is an issue. No, I want that person to get those type of jobs, because it's gonna be a time where I'm gonna be hiring those Denzel Washingtons and those working with those Michael B. Jordans. That doesn't mean anything wrong with my actors I work in Indianapolis. It just means that for those lead roles, I have certain other people in there, but I'll still place those people who I work with locally in those positions. So that's been like one of the biggest things in regards to challenges, and in certain areas, people feel that they have to be the only candy shop in the city. We have Kroger's, we have Marsh, we have Aldi's, we have Walmart, and each one of them provide great groceries to their clients, man. And I think people need to realize that you can buy from Aldi's, you can buy from Kroger's, you can buy from anywhere else, man. It doesn't make you the only legit person, man. People can get their canned goods from Aldi's. They can go to Fresh Shine, get all their vegetables. But again, it can be other playwrights, other movie makers in our area. And I think that's been one of the biggest challenges for me living here in the Midwest.
Wow, that's deep. So just piggybacking on that, 'cause I think you touched on a lot of different things there. What would be your response to, everybody has, their perception of who you are, and there's a certain consistency in terms of the number of people who may say that you have mistreated them or lowballed them or in any way use them in some type of way. with, you know, and I don't expect you to go deep into it, but what's your perspective on that, and can you shine light on that so maybe there will be an understanding throughout the community?
Yeah, I would say any growing business, any playwright, there's gonna be times when you meet budget, there's gonna be times when you don't meet budget. Sometimes you don't meet budget, you just don't have it. And I always contractually always like to let people know if we make a certain amount, this is where we're gonna be. If we are unfortunate to make nothing, we make nothing. That's just a risk as an entrepreneur. And I believe that when people understand that you are not on a level of some of these prominent playwrights who's been around for 20, 40, 30 years, that's making hundreds of thousands of dollars, there's a base you have to pay people. If our show is only going to gross $10,000 and it's costing us $3,500 to do the show, and we have a cast of 20 people, I can't pay everyone $500. It will be foolish as a business owner. It'll be foolish as a playwright, especially if I'm looking to continue the process and continue to provide opportunities for actors. So I would encourage actors to look at what Broadway actors are making, off-Broadway actors are making, and look at what community theater actors are making. And in many cases, community theater actors are not getting paid. We are one of the few that pay our actors at the productions, and we do that because we feel that if you work hard, we gotta make sure you get paid nice too. So the pay isn't Broadway money, but we try to do some things where we do show appreciation for their hard work and dedication to their craft.
What's up, man?
You got crossed over?
Why you gotta bring up old stuff?
You got
old
crossed.
stuff?
You tried to guard me yesterday. Oh, my bad, bro.
What really happened, I dunked on him. I said, I'm the new.
You got a joint on there, yo.
No, I don't, see. Don't look at my leg ashy. You know? See how
You
swollen
got broke
it is?
up, man.
Yeah, man. First time walking without it. It hurts so bad.
I know I'm gonna get it. I keep telling myself I'm getting
Keep me
it.
posted, man.
Yeah, I will. Thank y'all.
You got it,
Love
without a
y'all.
doubt,
See
without a
y'all
doubt.
later.
No doubt.
Something like great job, use your hands. When you're coming out, do like something like great job, something with your hands, and that's gonna get you to not just be together. I just want y'all to loosen up. Just walk in. Just walk in. Okay? Let's do this. 3, 2, 1, action.
So, love everything you've been saying thus far. Very inspirational and eye-opening, even from my perspective, knowing you so closely. I also know, that you're married. You have kids. What's that like in terms of trying to balance all of that and ultimately or with your family? Do you see, is this something like a family you would love to have your sons involved in this later, or what does that mean? What does it mean on a legacy standpoint too for you with what you're doing?
My first date with my wife, we went to a play. That was my first date with her. We went to a Medea play. I believe we sat like in the third balcony, man. We was at the Regal Theater in Chicago. And it was a great play, man. Funny, man, at that play, I didn't have money to actually pay for her dinner. So actually one of my homeboys, man, he actually loaned me some money to pay for dinner, man, and made the evening great for us, man. And she was wondering to this time, what was I talking about? Maybe that's what I was talking about. He was loaning me some money. But now we started in the arts, man, and right now we're still in the arts. And I like the fact that she respects what I do, man. She hold down the camp for me, man. I thank God for the favor that He's given me with my wife to support it. She's never complained, not once, about my time being out at rehearsals, my time being out making sets, my time being out even making money to support what we're doing. So that has been a blessing itself. Both of my sons have shown signs of having some artistry in them, man. My little one, he loves to build, he loves to draw, he's an artist. And my son Dallas loves to dance, but my daughter, man, she plays music, she plays the guitar, and she plays the keyboard, just off hearing sound, man. So I believe that somewhere down the line, including her makeup, I believe somewhere down the line I'll be able to hire my kids, man, to work for me, just teaching them the business of what I do, and hoping that one day they can take over and to continue to do what I do. But doing it in excellence, but I do want them to work for it. I don't want to give them anything because I want to make sure they understood and understand what it took and how hard it is to do what we do as filmmakers and playwrights. We fall in love with that person of 10 years ago, and sometimes we lose ourselves. Okay, because remember, I met you, I'm like, I'm digging you, I like this, like this, like this, like that. But it's like over time we get comfortable and those things start to go away. So if you were cut muscular, I'm like, man, I fell in love with that. And let yourself go. Is that fair to our spouse? Is that fair to you and her, for her to let herself go? And if so, is it right to ask them or address that in a nice way to help fix that? I know there's some couples who have gotten overweight in their marriage and they have an issue with that, but they won't tell their spouse. So do you tell them or do you let a problem happen? And then if they do tell you, are you man enough or woman enough to receive that because that's what they fell in love with and fix that versus her going to find someone that used to be you? Mm-hmm. So it's like,
Do you want me to answer that?
please, yes.
Okay, well, well, for me, I plan to stay young forever. So even if I start.
Sponsored by her life, Secret Stage.
Start getting, because that's how I am. I just want to look the same as long as I can, okay? So if I'm 90 and if I can still maintain it, that's what I'm gonna do.
You know, black don't cry.
There you go. As far as my spouse, yeah, I think that there's a way you should tell him. And just for.
What you tell him? If he changed that much, okay.
Okay.
She said,
And because, for example, like Monique, comedian Monique, when she got overweight, her husband told her, he was like, I want you to live a long life. You know, so he presented it to her that way because her weight, was health. So I think it's the way that you say it.
Gotcha.
So would you propose to yourself, or what was it? Would you
Yes, the
propose to
question
your
is,
spouse?
and it'll be hard to do.
I know you ain't
I've been married for 15 years, and to look myself in the mirror today, say, hey, would you marry your wife again today? Despite everything I know about her, would I still marry her today? And my answer would be yes, because the things she's been with me through has been unbelievable. I have not known, I don't think I would have ever known unconditional love the way she showed me unconditional love. And it was at my worst that she showed me, yo, I'm gonna still pray for you and fast for you. And I didn't understand that, how a person can love me like that.
Wow, I love it, definitely. Well, a couple more questions for you. So, of course, know you're a believer, and we can go so many different dynamics there, so we're not going to go too far. But as a believer, just speaking from a standpoint, if you were, because who you are and what you're doing and what God has done for you up thus far, if you were talking to another playwright who didn't believe, and of course you couldn't go too deep with it, but what would you tell them to encourage them or to show Christ and in your own way, to try and show light on their situation and how important it is to have Christ, and give some examples of course how it's plenty of testimonies, but giving a few of those along with it.
There was a time I did a play. It was at Coach Tony Dungy's church. We did this play called Philadelphia. And during that time, man, I was really kind of figure out where I was going in my ministry with the stage play. They had blessed us to do the play on Sunday morning versus having service. They allowed us to do the stage play. And at that church, they had a balcony. I think we were at capacity. Coach Dungy was there. He said he absolutely loved the play. The altar call was beautiful, etc. So during the altar call, as I was praying for people, the Lord turned me to two of my cast members, and I began to pray for them, and the gift of prophecy began to speak. He began to use me talk. And I had said something to these two young ladies I have not known for maybe more than a year, but they had some dealings that happened about 7, 8 years ago prior to me happening. And the Lord gave me a word for them to restore their relationship. And they both began to cry and just began to praise God. And afterwards, they asked me, how did I know that? I said, I didn't know that, man. That was a gift of the Holy Ghost that told me that. And it just blew my mind because I didn't know that they were best friends early on in life. And God had spoken directly to them through me. And I was just, it blew my mind because I knew it wasn't me, because I humanly couldn't know them not living in Indianapolis during that time. And so when I see things like that, and I see the work, and I see healing happen, I know that I'm doing it for purpose. I know I'm doing it for His glory. And there's been days where I was carrying props, had a U-Haul truck carrying a 4x8 plywood. I remember dragging a casket for Philadelphia full of lights and cords and all type of props, pulling through hallways late at night after shows, because most of my cast were teenagers. But I remember driving through the hallways, God said, it's gonna get better. It's gonna get better. And I was by myself at that time, man. Had no production team. I was by myself dragging these hallways of Philadelphia, man. He said it's gonna get better, it's gonna get better. And rest assured, man, His word has came. It's came about, man. I have an awesome team, and my words will be to them is just continue to go, even in your darkest hour, even at your coldest time, even when your bank account is negative. If you believe it, man, don't let nobody else tell you different. Continue to go with it, continue to push it. It's on you.
Wow, big. Well, one more question, man. Wow, that was powerful right there. So we got Her Lies and Secrets 3 coming up. We talked about, it coming about, we talked about a lot of the present times. What's the, and just one, of course you're not going to give away your plan, but what's the next big thing you feel like is coming for Her Lies and Secrets 3?
Next thing coming, with this production or after?
After this production.
After this production, I've written a play entitled Suffering in Silence. I also have a play entitled Brenda's Got a Baby. God sometimes give me productions, and He's saving them for a certain time. He's put in my heart to write this production. I've not yet given it a title, but it's my personal story, man, of something that my wife has gone through. Our story literally, man, and it is showing you the grace of God, man, and unconditional love, man. Writing that is going to probably be one of the realest things I've written, because it's going to I'm going to write my feelings and thoughts on paper. It's just going to be out there, and I want to share that with the world, because I know that there are couples going through this. They're going to go through this, and I need them to see the unconditional love that she had for me during the time. My mother-in-law, my Jesus, had to show the unconditional love that they had for me during the time I was just completely blind. So that's been on my heart heavy.
Wow. We really appreciate you. It's been awesome. Is there anything else you want to say?
No, sir.
All right.
Why is it? No, hey, I told you
the boss. Hey, Tina.
I keep telling
man.
this dude to stop bothering
I'm
us.
sorry, but you know what? I believe in starting on time and ending on time, and I got to make sure this plays at perfection, because my boss is standing here, and underneath all that, he wants everything to go professionally and on time and great. So let's get to it.
So like Vince Carter did in the slam dunk contest.
It's over, ladies and
It's
gentlemen.
over.
It's over.
Peace.